I am an aspiring actor. I was on a couple TV shows. I was on Evil Speaks on the Investigation Discovery Channel. Evil Speaks. Thank you. This is about my wife, but not to be confused with Evil Lives Here, which is what I feel every time I pull in the driveway. So I did just finish filming a movie, and it'll be out next year. It's called Family Obligations, and people have asked me if this was the first movie I was in, and I said no. About 20 years ago, I was in a horror movie. It was my wedding video. But I'd like to rewind it right to the point where I got in the limo, because I still had a smile on my face. So I am a retired NYPD sergeant, and I can tell you with confidence that when I worked every night, the people of New York City slept securely, knowing that I was on the day shift. So it was a little rough in the beginning. You know, there I am, brand new police officer, and I get to work. And I worked in a rough neighborhood. I mean, I would get cursed at, assaulted, shot at. Yeah, that was in the locker room. But I do remember my first day as a rookie police officer. I'm walking my foot post, and I get to the corner, and there's a crowd. Now, what attracts a crowd more than a crowd? So there's a crowd of people on the corner. I get there, I say, I got to do something. And I say, folks, you got to get off the corner. And they're not moving. I said, you have to leave, let's go. And they're yelling, we're not moving. I said, you have to. With that, the patrol car pulls up, and it's the sergeant. And he yells at me, Fiala, what are you doing? I said, Sergeant, they won't get off the corner. He said, because it's a bus stop. One of the best days of my career, though, was when I got to deliver a baby. And I remember this very clearly. It was a great day. I get to the house, woman screaming, the baby's coming, the baby's coming. And I looked, and the baby was coming. But it was breech. So I stick my hands in there, and she's pushing, and I'm pulling, and baby comes out, and we send her off to the hospital. About 2 weeks later, she walks into the precinct. I'm all happy. I go up to her. I said, are you here to thank me? She says, no, I found your watch. So I am married, and I have 2 children. And when I retired, I had to stay home and watch the kids, and that was a challenge unto itself, because they were bored all the time, and I was like, I don't understand this. So I had to figure out a way to punish them, because not only were they bored, they were bad. So I figured it out. I said the best way to punish your children is not to take away the iPad. You take away the charger. And you watch the blood drain from their faces. They're watching the battery life drain. And you should see the look on my wife's face when I take away her batteries. So my daughter is 10, and I had to run an errand, and she said to me, Dad, can I just stay home? I'll rent a movie, it'll be fine. I was thinking about it. I said, you know what, I'm not going to be gone that long. Yeah, you could rent a movie. Well, I got home, and it was later than I thought, because the game went into overtime, and I said to her, I said, Frankie, what did you rent? She said, Daddy, I rented 50 Shades of Grey. She said, but don't worry, I didn't like it. The book was so much better. So, as I said, I am married. My wife, Kathy, is here tonight. Thank you. I love when she comes out to the shows, because it's so good to see her laughing outside the bedroom. But she supports me in all that I do, you know, the acting and the comedy. Anything that gets me out of the house makes her happy. But the other day I had a comedy show, actually. It was last Saturday, and I got off the stage, and she said, what's the matter? And I said, I'm very upset. I messed up that joke. And she's so supportive. She says, don't worry. Nobody was listening anyway. So we just bought a new bed, $7,000 for a Sleep Number bed, and I still can't get a 69. So she's been hounding me to play that escape game. Has anybody played that? The escape room, the escape game, you know what it is? And she says, oh yeah, let's play the escape game. I said, honey, I play that every time you tell me your mother's coming over. So she wasn't feeling well this morning, and I said, you know, honey, sex is the best medicine. She said, you are absolutely right. Problem is, I need long lasting and you're fast acting. And she might be onto something, because now that I'm getting older, I find that my body doesn't react like it used to. I need some help on little blue pills, Aleve. which I always laugh because this is what my wife calls the bedroom whenever we're gonna have sex. So I was on the Facebook. They have those games, the games. What is your where are you going to hell and what animal spirit you are. And I said to her, I said, Kat, what movie reminds you of my penis? And she said, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. So, we were at Costco last week, and we're walking around, and she says, oh, that's my gynecologist. What do I know? I go over, I tap the guy on the shoulder, I said, how you doing, sir? I think you've also seen my wife's vagina? He said, which one is she? I said, she's over there. He goes, yeah, I saw it yesterday. I said, yesterday? She didn't have a doctor's appointment. He says, I'm your mailman. I have a few pet peeves, like I'm sure most people do. I just don't understand when people clap when a plane lands. It's not a magic trick. It's supposed to land. When people clap at the end of a movie, hate that. Right? It makes no sense. I really get annoyed when my wife claps every time I leave the house. The worst though is when she claps after sex, because I can hear her when I'm downstairs watching television. My wife and I think things differently. Like, she says, you're a slob, and I say, you just need to do a better job picking up after me. So, we were fighting the other day, and she says, you really need to do some more around here to help me out. I said, who do you think put those dirty dishes in the sink for you? But my wife's a master negotiator. So there's this couple that she likes to go out with, and I don't like them at all. I mean, the wife is very nice, beautiful lady, and the guy he's a dick. He just, he brags about his money, he brags about everything he's got, his money, his boats, his cars, and it's not Pete and Melanie, don't worry. So, it is. So I just don't like going out with them, and my wife says to me, she goes, if you go out with me, she says, I'll do that thing that you love, that you know I hate to do. I said, really? You'll vacuum? So, but I thought about it, and I said to her the other day, I said, you know what, would you like some shrimp tonight? She said, we had sex last night. So my wife is, I shouldn't say my wife, it's Kathy. She's got a name. Kathy is, she's very security conscious, and whenever we're gonna have sex, she says, what is your user ID? User ID? I don't know, Big Frank? She says, I'm sorry, another member already has that name.
Right? A little bit of a whore.
I'll get off my wife figuratively for a moment. And I grew up in a very traditional Italian household. We have Italians here? Yeah. Okay. My mother, she stayed home. She was a stay-at-home mom, and she never left the house except on Saturdays. She had to go to confession. And I'm saying, what could my mother be doing all week long that she's got to go to confession? Yeah, well, I found out, and it was bad. Yeah, she had been using jarred sauce. That's a bad one. So I'm sorry. Kathy is a court reporter, and whenever she wants to have sex, she tells me, she runs like the bedroom like it's a courtroom, and she tells me, so we're gonna have sex. She tells me, all rise, enter Exhibit A into evidence. When she's finished, she tells me court is adjourned. So I got a little tired of it, and I stood at the end of the bed naked. That's right, ladies, take it in. And I said, honey, court is in session. I'm going to enter into evidence exhibits D-I-C-K. She sits up and she looks at me and she says, "You know I don't work small claims." Thank you, everybody. I'm Frank Viola.